Welcome to our latest series in our WAN-IFRA webinars. My name is Ingi Rafn Ólafsson and I'm the director of the World Printers Forum. Our webinar today is titled Newspaper Production in the Times of COVID-19. We have two speakers who will talk about their experiences and how they are adjusting their operations. Before I present our speakers today, I just want to mention that WAN-IFRA has a series of webinars planned about the situation in our industry, and I advise you to look at our events on our webpage, WAN-IFRA.org. And this afternoon, we want to send you a short survey in order to design our future events. Also, a short note, the technology we're using is being used all around the world now, so it can have technical difficulties, so bear with us if we have any problems. So I think I'll go to our speakers today, and we have very good two speakers from two. Sorry, I'm opening here my. Yes, we have Alice Wong, who is the chief production editor of the print team of South China Morning Post. Having joined the company as a proofreader in June 1996, she has spent the past 2 decades editing stories, primarily for the business section. Silvio Da Giau is the technical director of the Athesis, a publishing house located in Verona, northeast of Italy. They publish 3 local newspapers in the Verona area. I'll hand the word over to Alice to begin with, and she will talk for about 10 to 15 minutes. There is a question bot at your what you can see. Please post your questions there, and we will read them out later in the webinar. Alice, you have the word.
Okay, thank you. Hi, I'm Alice from the South China Morning Post in Hong Kong. So Hong Kong is now in the almost 3 months of the virus outbreak, and earlier on the situation seemed to have calmed a little bit, but apparently the past few days the government is now talking that there might be a second wave of the outbreak, mostly driven by imported cases. And in fact, just today, we have 14 confirmed cases, which is the highest number of cases recorded in a single day, and mostly brought in from overseas. So in view of the situation, the government has already asked schools to close, and even now, although earlier the government has tentatively set mid-April as the reopen date for the schools, but now they decided that even though the schools will reopen, it will not be. It will have to be done in stages, and in view of the situation, and in fact, just last night, our office was also shut down because of a suspicious case that might be where a colleague in one of our sections might be infected with the disease. And so starting today, our entire organization, all our staff are working from home. Over the past, in fact, in the few weeks after the end of the Lunar New Year, our company has already started to experiment work from home arrangements for the editorial department, and it had gone fairly smoothly, where especially the senior editors, took turns to stay home, and while another batch of senior editors would work in the office, and the same also applied to the editorial staff, and during all this time, all our staff were told to take our laptops with us when we finish work every night, just in case the following day the office might be shut down. For our print operation, in order to give the readers a more comprehensive coverage of the outbreak, we also consolidated our product from 3 sections, 3 books, to 2 sections, so that we can have a better cover, so that we can have a more concentrated coverage of the virus outbreak in our book A. We also rely more on internet or video conferencing through Google Meet in order to do our daily conferences, so that we can reduce people-to-people interaction. And also to further minimize cross-infection, the management has told us, because our company setup is done in such a way that our editorial department are divided into 2 floors of the building, while the other departments are working from other floors. So during this time, we are discouraged from interacting directly with people from other departments. And if we have to communicate with them, we also have to do it through video conferencing. We also issue e-papers to our readers as well. Yes, so this is how our company responds to the virus outbreak while keeping our print operation running.
Thank you, Alice. This was very comprehensive. Can we hear from you, Silvio? Can you talk a little bit about how you have experienced your issues?
Sorry? Hello?
Yep. Hello, Silvio. Can you talk a little bit about your issues in Italy?
Okay. The situation in Italy is very difficult. As you know, Italy is the 2nd country in the world in terms of infected people, counting at yesterday around 28,000 people. That is 1/3 of the China figures, but China started a lot, many weeks ago, respect of Italy. The most critical area is the north of Italy, especially Lombardia, Veneto, and Emilia-Romagna. And unfortunately, we are operating on Lombardia and Veneto. We have a very rapid increase of cases of infection since mid of February to in a month we passed from 1 person to 28,000 people. So this is the reason why our government decided to force some restriction to our behavior, our way of life, our way in which we work, and so on. So since 10 days ago, we are everybody is have to stay at home, apart from those that needs to go to work where it's not possible to work from home. And apart from working, is allowed to go to hospital or for medical reasons, and of course to provide food and basic necessities. Among the basic necessity, there is newspapers. So we could print and distribute newspapers in this difficult period. For the rest, no school, no university, no shops, no sport events, no cinemas and museum, no restaurants, bar, pubs, discos, not even stay in group or have a running with the friends. This is the aim of the aim of these strict regulations is to avoid the contact between people, and so the transmission of infection. Talking about our situation, as I told before, we are located in terms of our editorial sites and our staff and our printing site between Lombardia and Veneto. Is in an area that covers part of Lombardia, means the Mantua and Brescia counties, and Veneto, means Verona and Vicenza counties. And this is an area in which we had a peak of infection, and we have the outbreaks of infection that started, one in Veneto and one in Lombardia. As I told before, we have newspapers and also TV station and radio station, and of course the printing site. And this means that we have to do a lot of actions, both inside our sites and to be able to work from outside. In the meantime, we have redesigned the configuration of our products, printed products, in order to reduce the page count that are mostly dedicated to coronavirus, to inform people about how is going on the situation. And also because we have less advertising, or not at all advertising some day, and so it doesn't make a lot of sense to have a huge amount of page. That means more problems or more activity to prepare the pages in the pre-press, and also to print newspapers that has a high page count. The circulation in those weeks has increased, not a lot, but is a sign that when the news are interesting, or there is a fact that is important, people go to the kiosks and buy the newspaper. We have also a very good, high peak in users and page views in our apps and internet. And as I told before, the only bad thing is that advertising is quite disappeared. In terms of actions, we work on two ways. The first way is to I'm talking about prepress and offices and so on, not the printing, of course. We have changed the layouts of our offices in order to guarantee a distance between people of not less than 2 meters. And we ask the people to have a good behavior, so no coffee together, no talk or to meet for a chat or something like that, and to use as much as possible the connection, not physical connection, phones or mail and so on. On the other hand, we have set most of our people with to be able to work from home, giving laptops and guaranteeing and developing connections via VPN to our editorial system on one way, or administrative system for the administration. At the moment, as today, 80% of the journalists and the pre-press staff in Brescia Oggi, that is our newspaper in Brescia, is working from home. Only two chief editor-in-chief and 2 people in the pre-press are working inside the building. All the other people is working in what we call smart working from home. The same we are doing also for the other 2 newspapers, L'Arena in Verona and Il Giornale di Vicenza in Vicenza, where we have around 60% of the people involved in the production of the newspaper able to work from home. Our goal is to have the complete production of the 3 newspapers. The 3 newspapers means editorial staff and pre-press people to be able to produce completely the newspaper from home in 10 days time from today. The most critical point is the communication between people. We have to change our behavior, because since now we were used to meet people, to meet together, to discuss, to interact with pre-press for modifying the page or the layout of the page or the headline and so on. Now we have to do this with people that talk one to each other, one-to-one, and this is the main big issue to face. And for the pre-press and editorial people and newsroom, more or less, it's all. Talking about printing, as a matter of fact, we couldn't print without printers, so we have to protect them as much as possible to avoid the lockdown of our facility or the unavailability of enough people to print. For doing that, we decided to anticipate the closing time for the newspapers, in order to be able to print all the 3 newspapers only on one press instead of the 2 that we have. In that way, we have reduced the number of people working together during the night at a minimum level in order to reduce the events of infection or problems like that. Furthermore, we have changed the way in which we prepare the make ready for the press, and also the cleaning and plate mounting activities. Doing that with one person for each tower and not 2 persons for tower as in the past. In this way, we reduce the number of cases in which 2 people could work very close one to the other. In such cases that are very few and mostly in the preventive maintenance for the press, we use the personal safety protection like masks, gloves, and glasses to reduce or to avoid the possibility to have infection, transmission of infection. We have also, but this is a general recommendation, to measure the temperature, the body temperature, before going to our people to check the fever. I mean the temperature before going to the office or going to the printing site or wherever they are going in our organization, in order to avoid that they come to our facilities having the risk to be infected. Lastly, talking about distribution, we have no problem for the moment in distribution because newspapers are considered basic necessities. And on my side is all. Thank you.
Thank you, Silvio. This was a great presentation, and you talked so much about what you've been doing. We have some questions being posted. I see a lot of people are posting questions. This is great. Alice, I wanted to ask you a little bit about the operations in your printing plant, how you have been doing it, like similar what Silvio was describing. Could you tell us about that a little bit?
As in fact, our operation is kind of similar to what Silvio just described earlier. We all have we've got temperature checks at the company and also at the entry of the company building to make sure everyone is healthy enough to come to the office to work. For the printing, because our current printing department is outsourced to another company, which used to be part of us. So we've got contingency plans for the in case the facility is locked down, but I'm not in a position to disclose these plans at this stage. We as Silvio said, so our advertising has gone down quite a bit because of the virus outbreak. But this, on the other hand, in fact, it also gave us more flexibility to lay out our pages for a better presentation of our virus coverage. Because for now, during these days, we basically have 4 pages, full 4 pages dedicated to the virus coverage every day for 7 days a week. And if we have other virus stories, we will put them in the business section or in the sports section as well. So the readers now know where to look for to find the virus stories. Initially, when we consolidated the 3 books into 2 books, we did have inquiries from readers on where to find some certain sections. But after a few days, then they have adjusted to our new format, and there were no more issues with how we arranged our pages. And we are also moving in the similar direction for our Sunday publication as well, where we may also combine the books into one. And also, especially because most of the sports events have been cancelled because of the virus. So we are facing a big challenge to fill too many sports pages. So we will combine all these sports pages into our main book, so that we have a bigger main book rather than separate into 2 books. And for other staffing arrangements, we have also tightened our travel restrictions for our staff. So basically, most travel has been put on hold. And during the earlier days, if any one of our staff members had traveled to mainland China, and when they came back, they would also have to stay home and and do self quarantine for 14 days before they could come back to work. And for our system, our publishing system, because it is internet based, and in fact, the reason why we used an internet-based system 2 years ago, we switched to this system, was basically to prepare for this kind of situation where if our office is shut down, then everyone can still log in from home and continue with our work, so that we can carry our business as usual. And this and now that our office is actually shut down, and this actually shows that our direction is correct. And we also, apart from using Google Meets to do different kinds of video conferencing to avoid direct interaction with other people, we are also relying heavily on our internal messaging system. So once we are online on duty, all our team members are encouraged to reply to any messages promptly, as if we were actually working in the office. So we try to create an environment where working from home is almost the same as working in the office, to minimize the disruption to our work. Yes. Have I answered all your questions?
Thanks a lot. But I have one question I wanted to ask you. This is this part of the question that have been asked in the webinar. How is the situation in Hong Kong? Is it more subscribers or is it more single copy sales? What is the situation? Because people are wondering about how papers are being distributed. I know Silvio, he answered that a little bit. Could you tell us a little bit about that?
In fact, I don't have the figures with the exact figures with me, but our subscriber numbers are actually for the print product are actually increasing, very encouraging for us. Even after our the paywall on for our website has been removed. So because it seems that our readers are actually keen to read the physical product as well as our online presentation. Currently we are also working on a redesign project to give our readers a fresh look of our print product.
Thank you. There is a question I wanted to ask both of you, and that is something, do you see a change in how people are consuming newspapers? Is there more or less copies sold? Is it less? What is the trend with the newspapers now? I mean, obviously the websites are used quite a lot, but what about the newspapers? More copies or less? What do you think?
Yes, okay. For us, we for our paper, we mostly choose the content from our website to be put in our paper and package it in a more presentable way, because with website it's kind of a standardized presentation, a standardized layout. But with the print product, we will repackage it with illustrations, with pictures, and with our layout people actually put a lot of effort to in order to produce a very good looking product. This is also one way to keep our print readers. And during our recent survey, as part of the redesign project, the feedback that we got was the readers are still keen on reading the print product, even though the content is also published online.
Silvio, do you have an answer for that question?
Yes, we have an increase, a slight increase in the number of copies sold by the kiosk that represent for us 80% of the sales, because around 10% is subscribers, but that are based on the kiosks, means that they go to the kiosk to get the copy, but is a subscriber, not a standard buyer. And other 10%, more or less, is the delivery via mail, the mail system, the postage system, Italian system. We have noticed this increase in the copies sold by the kiosk. Also because we have a lot of pages dedicated to coronavirus. On a page count of 48 pages, we have around 15, 16 pages dedicated to the Italian and local news around about the virus, with stories, people that has problems or people that has good results or something like that. Okay.
Thank you. There is a question also about, are there journalists out in the field? Obviously, everything is forbidden now. I mean, people should not be gathering, but are there journalists outside in the field creating stories and content and taking, fresh pictures and etc. etc.? If I start with you, maybe Silvio, about that.
Okay, we have both journalists and TV operators that are going in town and to get information or to contact government and so on. They are moving with what we call BPI, that is in English, just a moment, personal safety protection. So they are protected from with masks and glasses and gloves from contacts with other people.
Alice, could you tell me
it's okay?
Yes. For us, yes, our reporters, our journalists are still going out on the field to do interviews and to gather information. They also still go to press events, but all with protective gear, just like what happens with Silvia's organization. They will also get information from the government, and they also and in fact earlier on for the Diamond Princess cruise ship, we also sent a reporter to Japan to follow this news development, and we also relied on WhatsApp messaging system to communicate and to send the updates back and forth. So essentially, it's still business as usual, but through internet connection methods.
Very good.
Yes.
I have a question also for both of you, and I'll have Alice start here. But has at any time any of your printing plants being in risk of being shut down?
Well,
Alice?
I think yes. So I think I have mentioned this earlier. So as I mentioned, because our printing house has been outsourced to another company, so we've got plans to if we've got plans in place if the facility has to be shut down, and but I can't disclose them at this moment, and the way I understand is, at least for now, they also have rostered fewer staff on duty, also to minimize human to human interaction. And if needs be, we will also communicate through because the printing house is not located near our building, so we also communicate through our messaging system.
Great,
yes.
Thank you. Well, what I could include maybe in the question, you have not been then highly affected that your staff has not been falling sick, kind of.
Sorry? Oh, not me.
If your staff was falling sick to the virus, so you would be your production facilities would be crippled by the staff falling sick.
Well, we will still carry on our operations as usual. Just like now, our office has been shut down, and yet we still carry on producing a paper with everybody working from home. So if there is a meeting, we do it through video conferencing, and we communicate through emails, through messaging systems. And we will also liaise with our printing house to let them know that, okay, now every one of us has to work from home, so there may be a bit of delay in our production. So and also we will also ask them to delay our print deadline, so that we can get the latest updates in our print product for our readers. So so far I don't see any impact on our daily operation because of the shutdown, because of the virus.
Thank you, Alice. Silvio, could you comment to that as well?
Yes, I'm connected. So talking in general, talking about our facilities, we have we haven't had infection in our staff. Even if somebody is at home precautionally quarantined at home because they had contacts with families or other situation with people that was infected. But at the moment we have only to sanitize all our building regularly. But we have to prepare also this kind of case, and this is the reason why we are pushing to be able to work outside our editorial departments as soon as possible. Talking about the printing site, we have reduced the number of people working together in order to reduce the risk. On the other hand, we have set an agreement with other printer, not very close to us, because otherwise we would have the same risk one to the other, both. And in order to print outside, if we could have a lockdown of our printing site. There is no other choice that we could put in action.
Thank you. Thank you.
Is that the answer that you need, or there was some other part of the question?
This was good. I was just also being asked here about the distribution. Of course, some of the copies are single copy cells in the kiosks, like you said in Italy. There's some different system in Hong Kong, I guess. But how are the subscribers getting their papers at the moment? And if you start, maybe.
I start. Okay. Subscribers have two ways to receive to get a copy. The first, the classic way is the newspaper is delivered by the mail with the normal mail at home. That means that you could receive your newspaper at 8 o'clock or 1 p.m. It depends on in which part of the town you live. The second way that is we started some years ago is to be a subscriber, but to go to the kiosk where to one kiosk that you have decided in which you find your copy. The subscribers, both of them counts between 15 and 20% of our sales. The most important quantity of sales are single copy sale at the kiosk. And distribution, we operate with a local distributor, so we send all the copies to the local distributor, and he prepare the bundles for each kiosk. The subscribers' copies delivered by mail or postage is sent to the mail center where they are prepared for the delivery.
Thank you, Silvio. Alice, can you tell us a little bit about the situation you have in Hong Kong?
Okay. For our subscribers, mostly they will get their papers by delivery, and we also have subscribers. We will also have orders to the hotels, to airlines, to schools, and also to Macau. But now, of course, with most of the schools, or basically all the schools being closed, and that is also one reason why we have stopped the production of the of our school paper, of our Young Post, which is essentially targeting students, except for the Sunday product. But we are still producing the Young Post in the form of e-paper and deliver to our subscribers. And yes, so another channel is through e-paper. However, I don't have the breakdowns for the different categories of our subscribers. And of course, also the general public can also buy our copy, buy our products at kiosks or at convenience stores.
Thank you, Alice. Just to follow up and maybe on this question, did you try any new distribution channels with this crisis? I mean, the channels is facing you. Did you try anything creative, new ways that you could use? And maybe you start. Sorry.
Silvio first.
Alice, you can start, and then Silvio then can take the mantle.
Okay. We will. We don't see the need to stop our print operation, because our print can also be distributed through e-paper, and I don't see any reason to stop this kind of our newspaper production, and in fact we will try to we will try to present.
Hey.
Sorry,
excuse me.
yes. So we will continue. Yes. So we don't have any plans to change our production method for now. We will still continue producing our paper.
Thank you, Alice. What about you, Silvio? Did you have any
the same
alternative?
For us? We already have a digital version of our newspaper, so it's who is not the people could subscribe the internet, let me say in that way, version of our printed newspaper. But printed newspaper is 80% of our sales, so we can't avoid to use it. And there are no chance to have some to have different channel of for publish the printed version in another way, apart from be able to print it in a different printing site. That is what we put in place in the last weeks. Is it okay?
May I supplement my answer to this question?
Of course.
Yeah. And another reason why we will continue with our print operation is print advertising is accounts for a large portion of our revenue. So we will definitely keep producing our paper. And same with Silvio's answer, we also have this e-paper. So it is also essentially another form of our newspaper. Yes.
Thank you, Alice.
I could add, just a moment, I could add that also for us, the printed advertising is most of the revenues in advertising. So print newspaper is still the most important asset that we have to guarantee.
Thank you, Silvio. We have, of course, not been able to go through all the questions, so I just wanted to have you have 2 minutes each to tell us a little bit about, if you could wrap up in a very short thing about what is the main lessons you have learned, and hopefully some positive things as well, if there's some positivity about this. Could you start then, maybe Alice?
Okay, sure. I think this virus outbreak gives us a very good opportunity for us to try working from home, how to continue with our business as usual operation without actually physically being in the office. And today's experience, real life experience, proved that it still works. And so that will definitely prepares us for other crises or other outbreaks like this in future, where our facilities will be shut down because of whatever circumstances. And it will also help in testing the robustness of our system. Because being physically at home to do our work will require a lot more broadband and also system stability. So this is something our IT department will have to review if there are any shortcomings. And also to make this work from home arrangement work, every one of us will have to exercise a lot of self-discipline, and also concentration at work, rather than being distracted by anything that happens at our home. Yes.
Thank you, Alice. I can surely relate to that. I'm working here from home now. Can Silvio tell us a little bit about your situation and what are your takes mainly from this?
Also for me, the lesson is that we have to change our mind in terms of where I'm working, because the office or home or a beach maybe, it's must be absolutely the same situation in terms of availability of instrument like PC and so on, and connection. And then we could be able to face other kind of crisis in the future. The only the second lesson is that even if we prepare all the best for a printing site with many possibility to be autonomous, in autonomy, to be able to print also without electricity, because we are self-sufficient. But there can be something that is worse than you can imagine, and we are not without risks. So we have to think differently also in the production, in the printing, because we are not always sure to be able to print, and we can't at the moment we can't lose the printing the printing copies, the printed copies.
Thank you, Silvio. I thank you both, Alice Wong and Silvio Da Giau, for your precious and taking out the time in your busy schedule to be with us today. Of course, we couldn't get to all the questions, but we are working on having similar webinars for every week now for the World Printers Forum. The World Printers Forum at WAN-IFRA will be hosting now webinars for the next week as well. Wednesday, same time, so look forward to it, to be with you then. If you have any issues that you would like us to consider, just you can email me. My name is on, will be posted here later on, and my email address. So I thank you all for this good webinar, and hope to see you or hear from you next week as well. Thank you so much. Bye.